Hey everyone, number 44 on my list of 100 greatest songs of all time is Fast Cars by Tracy Chapman. People talk about her lucky break, in inverted commas. She was playing at a gig in Wembley Stadium. So it was Nelson Mandela's 70th birthday tribute concert. And it was June 1988. And she performed a short set in the afternoon, but it wasn't. I can't remember if the story was it was either it wasn't televised yet or that there was a smaller audience in the afternoon than there was in the evening. But Stevie Wonder was set to perform and he had technical difficulties, and she stepped up and went in again, and she obviously played Fast Cars, and the song shot up number six in the Billboard top 100, and her album shot up, and then she, talking about revolution, um, came out and she did Baby Can I Hold You. Like her list of songs, if you want to talk about great songwriter, she's incredible. Telling Stories is one of my favorite. She when I was in New York at the time, after my leaving cert for 3 months, and that actually came out, and it was great. It was on the radio at all time. But she has loads of really great songs. Um, and Fast Cars is the kind of most well known of her songs, I would imagine. Yeah, I'm sure it is. But it's quite it's such a beautiful little lick she plays on the guitar, and I don't know it on the guitar, but it's very straightforward and simple and beautiful, but like it sticks in your head, and her voice is so different. Um, her voice is kind of like it's very haunting. I don't know. I don't want to compare it to like someone like Nina Simone, because that's an awful, it's a very difficult person to compare someone to because of Nina Simone's, brilliance as a singer. But there's something quite there's a big emotion behind it, and there's like as she's singing about, like, I suppose I know what Fast Cars is actually about. Like, I never really thought of it as something that I needed to read into as such. But what I do like about it is it seems to have universal appeal. It seems that, like, it's one of those songs that everybody likes, or obviously not everybody, but I mean, when young people and people my age and older people and all that seem to like the song, and it has like this appeal. Um, and it look, I'm just looking at it now, like people, just about people trying to make a life together and face the challenges they face. And she was raised by a single mother, and in a community who are struggling. And I suppose everything when it comes to art, a lot of your personal life is brought into it. But you can check out that performance in the Nelson Mandela 70th birthday tribute. It's so good because it's just her with her guitar in front of Wembley Stadium, which must have been daunting enough when you were doing the afternoon. But then someone turns around and said, "Well, actually, we're going to get you to stand in for Stevie Wonder for now because he's having technical difficulties." Quite a bit of pressure to put on someone who would have been quite young at the time. And I love, like, the structure of the song is beautiful. I remember when we were about 16. I was about 16, and my brother was obviously a couple of years older, and he had friends that he hung around with, and I didn't quite get, like, I couldn't. They were driving at the time, and I wasn't one that could fit in the car. But I remember one of the lads, like, and he was kind of well, I suppose I saw him as like a tough guy, kind of, a very confident lad, like of 18 or 19 or whatever he was. And he was in his car, and everybody was standing around it, smoking cigarettes and the usual stuff. And, like, this came on the radio, and he was like, "Oh, this is a banger," and he, like, put it up really loud. And I thought it was so strange because we were in cars at the time that, one of our friends was just listening to, kind of at one point, just listening to um southern rap from Atlanta. That was kind of really, like, limiting himself. But, like, this kind of um early, it wasn't Outcast, but the early Outcast sound of that southern kind of, there's a grunginess to the rap. We were listening to that, and other people that you'd see going around in cars that we knew would be listening to kind of techno music, or but this guy was just like, as soon as this song came on, and I suppose I always admired how he didn't give a shit, because when you were younger, you were very self-conscious about what music you listened to, and you didn't want to share what you might have considered as kind of like lighter music, we'll call it, even though it's not, but we'll call it that. And he didn't really care at all, like, and I admired the confidence of him, and I was kind of, one day I want to be like you. And I guess making this list, I kind of am being like him, in that I'm just putting songs out there, and this is subjective, like, it's objective to me, but it's subjective to everyone else. So it's all good, like, and people kind of criticizing and laughing at my choices, and sometimes saying they're great and all that. Now I don't care, but when I was young, I did. Like, but this is kind of going back to the idea of universal appeal of a song. Like, there was a bunch of lads standing around a car, nodding their heads to Tracy Chapman, Fast Cars, and knowing nothing at the time, knowing nothing about Tracy Chapman or the story behind the concert in Wembley Stadium, or anything to do with that. It just stood out, this song that had this like beautiful, like, it just like, it's that, that melody underneath the vocal melody. And she played, like, I don't know, it's just how someone can structure a song the way she does in that, without like the tricks and the big solos and all this kind of stuff. And it's folky, like, it's folk music, and her other stuff is quite bluesy at times, and it's quite kind of indie-ish at times, like, but this is the one that has stuck to her, the main one. She's got, like I said, she's got other classics, and she's got a lot of people who have covered her songs for good or for ill, but this is just, like, since I first heard this, whenever that was, it's always just seemed like a timeless piece of music that's always been there, like something from Beethoven, or it doesn't seem like it was only written or released in 1988, if that makes any sense. But anyway, yeah, Fast Cars. Cheers.